Let's bring in our political director, Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein. Latest on the polls and early voting.
Yeah, George, good morning. These are the latest polling averages in 538. The 7 states that are almost certainly going to determine the presidency. Things close as ever, and we're seeing a very slight Trump edge in several of the battleground states. Kamala Harris's numbers have gone down just a little bit, although all within the margin of error. And we are seeing an explosion in voting. More than 50 or almost 50 million people have already voted. It pace is actually down a bit from 2020 when COVID drove so many people to vote by mail. But Republicans have started early voting off strong basically everywhere. North Carolina is one example there. You could see Democrats were outnumbering Republicans slightly early on in the voting period, but that has started to change. A lot of these voters happen to be people that would show up anyway at some point. It means there are still more Democratic and independent voters to chase. And it is a similar story in the state of Wisconsin. You see Republicans making up a greater share of the electorate than Democrats. Again, a lot of those are people that are going to vote anyway. The deciders are still out there and still gettable for the campaigns, George.
And Rick, our poll shows that people generally trust the voting process.
Yeah, this was striking to me because all the concerns we've seen around voting, people are broadly convinced that results are going to be accurately reported. 69% of people say they are confident that votes will be accurately counted. But among Trump supporters, it's actually a bit less. More than half of Trump supporters say they don't think that all votes are going to be counted accurately this year. Overall, 86%. So really the vast majority of Americans say they are prepared to accept the outcome of the election either way. But this is striking. 66% of voters say they don't think Donald Trump will accept an outcome that doesn't go his way. That is double the number that think the same of Kamala Harris. Of course, George, Trump did reject the outcome of the 2020 election, and he has refused to say outright whether he would accept the 2024 results.
Yeah, he's laying the groundwork for a protest. Okay, Rick, thanks very much. Rachel, let me come back to you. Do your day job. When you're not on the campaign trail, you cover Congress. Where do things stand for the battle for control of Congress?
Well, George, we could see a scenario where both chambers of Congress could possibly flip on election night, which means whoever wins the White House could be faced with divided government. So let's start in the Senate, where Democrats have a razor-thin majority. They are playing a lot of defense on election night. They have 23 seats up for grabs, which means Republicans by the end of the night only need to net 2 seats. They feel pretty good about their chances there in West Virginia after Senator Joe Manchin is stepping down. They also have their eyes set on Ohio and Montana, where you have the last 2 statewide Democrats, Sherrod Brown and Jon Tester, who are fighting in very, very tough races. Now, over in the House, it is Republicans that have a razor-thin majority. In order to have a good night for Democrats, they need to hang on to every single seat that they have and also flip 4 seats in order to gain the majority in the House. Republicans playing a lot more defense there, including some tight races that are clear toss-ups, including right there in New York, which is why there was so much concern about some of those vulgar and incendiary comments made at Donald Trump's rally in New York. There is concern about how that's going to affect races down the ballot, George.
Okay, Rachel, thanks very much.